Richard, you and I both know that the tariff proposal that RECO prepared was submitted to the National Energy Commission more than 2 years ago. What has been the response to that tariff submission?
On June the 4th, 2009, yes, Luis, we in fact submitted a tariff proposal to the Energy Commission at that time, which was headed by S.R. Aguilar, who was appointed by Mil Salat. Quite frankly, that is the most competent Energy Commission that we have dealt with since I've been here. Unfortunately, during this last 2 years, we've had to deal with 4 total Energy Commissions. That one, and then we had another one appointed by President Micheletti, and then we've now had 2 appointed by President Pepe Lobo. This last one, probably the least experienced of all of them, with regard to their ability to calculate rates and administer to a tariff proposal that we have submitted. It's been a long process. Back in January, we received a resolution to our tariff proposal. The resolution did not follow the electricity law as it is spelled out. The Energy Commission had in fact just mandated rates to us, which is not their job to do that. And the rates were far less than what we had that would have been determined had you followed our tariff proposal, which was honestly given to the Energy Commission. The tariff proposal is based on a 5-year investment plan. It also takes into account efficient operations, of which there are certain milestones that you must meet as a utility from the regulator. Those are established by the regulator, so that the public knows that the utility is running an efficient operation and is not running an inefficient, if you will, and therefore having costs that are much higher than they should be, and then recovering costs that you shouldn't be recovering. This is the regulation process. We follow it to the letter of the law, always have and always will. Unfortunately now, with that resolution, we had 2 options. We could accept it, or we could go fight it in court. Well, we couldn't accept it because it would make RECO go bankrupt, quite frankly. And that was the case when we took over, and I don't think our customers want to go back to those times. So therefore, now we're in court. And until this is settled on either a negotiated basis with the Energy Commission or in the courts, in the administrative law courts, until such time as that occurs, then RECO is going to continue to do what it's doing, charge what it's charging. Unfortunately, what happens during this entire period is that the investor has a very difficult time spending the large amounts of capital that we need to spend today for additional generation and for upgrades on our system. It is very difficult for the investor to go spend tens of millions of dollars when we have a mandate from the government that says that we have to charge rates that would make us go bankrupt. So, assuming we prevail in the legal action, then RECO will then go forward with this investment plan. If it loses in that action, then it would be an appellate process that would take many, many years to solve, at which time we would keep on doing what we're doing. The unfortunate thing about all of this is that the people that are going to be hurt the most is going to be on the island. The growth on this island needs to have reliable energy to be available. And that's very difficult to do when you have a resolution from the Energy Commission telling us that we must charge rates that quite frankly don't even follow their own guidelines, we have to charge rates that would in fact make us put us in financial disadvantage to where we would actually, it would cause you to go to bankruptcy.
Are the laws regulating electrical systems that are off the mainland of Honduras, are they different from electrical companies in the mainland?
It's a good question, Luis. Yes, there are. First of all, we fall into a different category of regulation with regard to what Honduras calls isolated systems, because we're, for obvious reasons, not tied to a grid. One thing that comes into play on that is the amount of standby capacity that we're required to have. Under Honduran guidelines with regard to tariff proposal, you're supposed to have between 60 and 120% of available standby capacity relative to your overall demand. when we received the tariff resolution that I alluded to earlier, when we received that back from the Energy Commission, they had in fact calculated that on a 20.75% standby capacity, which is woefully inadequate for a system like ours, which is not tied to a grid. So when we lose our generation, then we're out of luck. We can't go tie into a grid somewhere and buy additional capacity from somewhere else. It doesn't matter at whatever cost. The Energy Commission does address this. The O&M costs for isolated systems are supposed to be allocated higher for simple reasons that we run into on the island. We're more susceptible to storms, and we're also very susceptible to corrosion, which adds greatly to our operating and maintenance costs. So yes, to answer your question, we do fall under a different set of guidelines. They are spelled out in the electricity law, and when we submitted our tariff proposal, we followed those to the letter of the law.
It is known that on mainland there is a subsidy that is provided by DNE to its customers. Even here in the Bay Islands, there is a subsidy that has been approved by the Congress and signed into law by President Lobo. Yet, the subsidy is not even applied yet in the Bay Islands. Can you explain what do you know about this?
I know that I'm frustrated as hell. I can tell you that, Luis. When we got here, March of 2008, when we took over the operations, at that time RECO was still applying a subsidy for those that consume 300 kilowatt hours or less per month, even though we were not being reimbursed by the central government for those subsidies that we were applying. After that, I found out that on the mainland that there was a subsidy provided to all the NA customers, that anyone consuming less than 150 kilowatt hours or less per month had their energy provided to them free. So we got on the bandwagon and started to see if we couldn't acquire that same subsidy for the people or our customers over here in Roatan. And in fact, it turned into an effort that was going to be applied to all of the Bay Islands. So we went through a lot of negotiations with then Minister of Finance Gabriela Nunez, I guess was her name, yeah, back then. Really nice lady. Anyway, we had a lot of discussions with her, and in fact, it appeared that we were just going to get it applied because the amount of capital that it was going to require to provide the funds for that subsidy over here on Roatan was so much less than what they were given to an A that it was almost like they could just do it. And then along with you, Luis, you had developed a program under which this could be applied, where we could go through Solitaire, let Solitaire be the policing agent for the funds, to where we would set up a bank account over here on Roatan, to which the central government would then take at least 2 months of the predicted cost of that, or the estimated cost of that subsidy over 2 months, put that in a bank account, and then each month we would go to Solitaire with our receipt, if you will, on how much we provided that month free. Solitaire would then approve that, transfer that money into our account, and then the central government would then simultaneously replace that amount here in the bank, so that we always had at least 2 months of the subsidy available at all times. That way RECO knew that it would be paid. Because if RECO cannot be assured that it's going to be paid, it obviously cannot provide the subsidy. Over on NA, they do things like that, but which is a subsidized utility. We are not, and therefore we can't take the risk of applying that subsidy and it not and we not be reimbursed for it. Where it stands, I know that Romeo Silvestri, when he was running for office and now he's our congressman, got behind this effort. He went to the Congress, he got the bill approved. I think Pepe Lobo has in fact signed it into law, and for whatever reason we can't get it funded. I did talk with Sean Hyde here this past week, and he told me he was going to try to revisit that effort. I find it difficult to understand as to as to why the Hondurans on Roatan don't have the same benefit of their energy subsidized as the Hondurans on the mainland. I think that's fundamentally wrong for that to occur that way. And so if Sean, if he wants to pick up the ball and run with it, if Romeo or anybody else here wants to, needs our help or our effort in regard to acquiring this, this subsidy, please let me know. We're available anytime to go out and try to revisit this issue and get it obtained for, I think, all the Bay Islands should be applied. If we were to get this done today, that would affect almost 5,000 RECO customers. Almost 5,000 RECO customers. And those that consume 150 kilowatt hours or less, the average is around 84, if I'm not mistaken, Louise, when we looked at that a few months back. Of course, it'll change monthly. Anyway, this would be a huge, huge benefit to our customers. First of all, they should have it. It's the law. and why this thing cannot get funded is beyond me. Anyway, any public official out there that needs any RECO help in trying to get this, all they have to do is pick up the phone and call, and we're there.
Well, Richard, thank you very much. We're coming to an end here. Most of these issues that you have presented today have already been published in La Prensa on the issues of the 22nd and the 24th of June. Is there anything else that has been published there in Spanish that you would like to explain to your English-speaking population?
Yeah, this was one of our first efforts that we've had in trying to publicize information with regard to RECO in the newspapers. This is the first of what is probably going to be many such articles that you're going to be seeing published. And quite frankly, going through the experience, it's very difficult to get the papers to print exactly what you have provided to them. They always want to editorialize and print kind of what they want to. And so I know, Luis, you went back and forth with them on making sure that we got the accurate information published in the paper and in the format in which we wanted it presented. So anyway, that did come out here recently in the papers, and I hope a lot of our customers did see that. For those that don't read Spanish or would like access to an English version of it, just please ask or email me, and we can get you a copy of it. There was one thing I noticed when I picked up the paper and I read the article, that it ended in the middle of a sentence. And so obviously we looked to the next page to see if it was over there. It wasn't. But actually what that was saying was, it was just a little commercial announcement about what Kelsey Warren, our investor, has done here with RECO. Today he's spent about $27 million here at RECO, and by now we're putting in the wind farm, and in conjunction with that we're going to form a tourist venue up there at the wind farm site. But you know, currently, besides spending $27 million here, Kelsey Warren, with RECO and other activities he has in this area, he employs about 200 people. And that's meaningful. And in fact, I'm not exactly sure there's anyone that employs more than that. I'd have to, and those are good paying jobs. And so Kelsey has made a commitment to the Bay Islands, and he's not budging from that. He is probably a little disappointed, like I am, as what we've had to go through with this regulatory process. But we're a little hard-headed at times, and we're not going to back off. We're doing what's right. We're doing what's legal. And our sole purpose for being down here is to help the Bay Islands. People can rest assured that Kelsey Warren is committed to the Bay Islands, especially committed to RECO, and he wants to make it a first-class utility. And I think once we get over all of these little hiccups here, we'll be okay.